And if I do strength training, power training with weights, plyometrics, and sprinting, I'm going to get bouncier and faster. And I can change my genetic disposition. Understanding why we're doing what we're doing. Okay? If you know why you're doing something and you understand the benefits, then you'll be more likely to continue it, and you'll be more likely to have enthusiasm when you're doing it. And when you have enthusiasm when you do anything, Jackson, enthusiasm is contagious. Like if I come in here, I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go, and you're like, no, I don't know. And then the more you're around me and I'm ready to go, it's gonna rub off on you. And the opposite too is like that. Hey, you ready to practice? Nah, not so much. I'm just like kind of just woke up. I don't really feel like practicing today. What are we doing today? And it's like, you're killing my body, man. I'm like ready to go. And that's where people can bring you down and they can bring you up. So if Kavika has a good attitude, he can bring everybody up. You understand? If Layden comes in here with a bad attitude, she can bring all of her partners down. And that's how it works, and we've all experienced that. Okay, so what we're going to talk about, some of you younger players will not understand this at first, probably, but you might. Okay? Does anybody know what kind of muscle fibers we have in our body? Anybody?
Triceps and biceps.
Yeah, you're on point, right? So I'm going to put T for type. T's for type, I'll write it up. Type 1. Anybody know what type 1 muscle fibers are? Slow twitch. Slow. Slow twitch. Type 1 muscle fibers are slow twitch. The people who have slow twitch muscle fibers are endurance athletes, marathon runners, cyclists. Okay? Does anybody know what a marathon runner looks like? Right? Not a bodybuilder, like Tony. Okay? Marathon runners have significantly higher type 1 muscle fibers than, say, football. Type 2A. This is fast twitch. Okay? Type 2A, meaning that it's the first type of fast twitch muscle, and there's another kind that's not as fast or as powerful, but it doesn't fatigue as quickly. So how we can determine these muscle groups, the muscle types, are how fast they twitch, they react, and how fast they become fatigued. So an endurance runner, their slow twitch muscle fibers are smaller, but they use oxygen more efficiently, so they don't fatigue. Type 2A, these are your intermediate sprinters. Okay, a lot of basketball players, some soccer players mixed in there too. They're fast, they're explosive, but they're not a marathon runner. Okay? And we all have varying groups of these. Hey, you guys following me? Fast twitch. Does anybody know the next one? Type 2X.
It's like what cheetahs have. Fast twitch endurance.
Type 2A, yeah, it's like a cheetah. I mean, it's super fast and powerful. Most people have a very small, so I'd say the majority of you guys probably have about 5 to 7% of this right here. Okay? Pro sprinters, bodybuilders, have about 15%. Okay, the general population, 5 to 3%. Okay, now, recently, this is super fast twitch. And they fatigue faster than type 2A and type 1. So they get tired really fast, but they have a lot of bang and super explosive. But they can only last for about 5 seconds. And then they fatigue. Then they have to recover. You guys understand that? These muscle fibers are a lot bigger and they react a lot faster to you. Type 2A is a little bit smaller, but they're bigger than type 1. Still really fast, but not as fast as these. Now, recently, we have found out that there's hybrid types. Okay, I hope I spelled that right. Hybrid types. So there's a mix of 2A, 2X, and vice versa. So some athletes have a hybrid muscle group. Super fast and more endurance. Okay? So, being a beach volleyball player, you guys following me? Being a beach volleyball player, what type of muscles fibers do we want?
Hybrid.
Hybrid?
Hmm?
Do we want endurance?
No.
Slow twitch?
No.
Yes.
Not much powerful? All right. Really? Malachi, you were playing in men's open. You played the final championship match. How many points lasted longer than 5 seconds?
A lot of them.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
From the time the ball was contacted to the time somebody moved, how many do you think lasted more than 5 seconds? Now remember this, when you're playing, how much more, when you're really focused, how much more does time slow down? So you probably had well over 100 plays, right? 100 plays. How many do you think lasted more than 5 seconds? How many didn't end? Okay, 5 seconds in beach volleyball would be they side out on the first time.
Probably 50 of them.
50% of them. Okay. How many went beyond 7 seconds? The second stop, the second return.
Probably like closer to 10.
10? So even fewer. So about 70% of them didn't last longer than 7 seconds. Right? These started fatiguing between 5 and 7 seconds. Now here's the deal about this. How many times do we not score or side out because we're not super explosive? How many times, Malachi, was the play extended because one player didn't put the ball down and they rolled it because they were tired or they just didn't get a good bounce on it? How many times did that happen out of those 70%?
80 times.
Right. So the point is, the more these fast twitch muscle fibers, the more power we have to score quickly. And the girls, nothing against girls, you watch the lower level girls, it's like a long rally because nobody is putting the ball away. But we go to the Olympics, it's almost every time it's over in the first time. Every 1 out of 5, maybe, goes beyond a rally. Right? We see that. Somebody digs it, even a block, the play's over. Usually, if there's not enough. And then we'll see it about once or twice a match. There's this long rally, and everybody's like, whoa, who's going to win it? Right? And then after that, how long a break is there? 30 seconds, 45 seconds. You know, everybody walks back to the line. They talk to their partner, whoever lost. Hey, we did this. The other guys, the girls usually run back to the line like, let's get them. Right? So, slow twitch doesn't do us much good. This intermediate fast, good. Super fast twitch, really good. Because what does it take to get a block? What does it take to get a spike? What do you have to do to dig a ball that's hit really quickly at you? You have to move like this. What is it?
Fast twitch.
Yes. Okay?
And then
Now, everybody in here is genetically like you were born with one of these or more. Okay? Like we could say Jackson and Colson are more athletic, so they were born with more fast twitch than the general population. Probably 90%. I would bet both of them have about 90% more of all the other kids that are 7 years old or were born when they were their age. I mean, they're pretty athletic, right? They're actually extremely athletic. Now somebody else who doesn't play anything, they're going to have more of these when they're born. This low twitch. Now here's the deal. We can drastically change. We can move from here to there, and we can move from here to there. Did you guys know that? They've had identical twins. Are you guys identical? Identical twins. Okay, everybody look at them too. Mila and Kate, let's stare at them for 2 seconds. They're pretty alike, right? Little bit of differences. Colson, what are the differences? Don't say it. They're really alike. Okay? Now here's the deal. Let's say Kaylee said, I'm going to start running cross country. Mila said, I'm gonna stick to track. I'm doing the 100, the 200. I'm playing basketball and volleyball. Okay? Now, if your track coach didn't have you running 800s and miles, and your basketball coach didn't have you running 3 miles after practice or 2 miles, which mine did, this is what would happen. Even though they're identical twins, after 6 weeks, after 8 weeks, after a year, Kaylee would have a drastic amount more slow twitch muscles. Let me say that again. They're identical twins. If Kaylee did cross country or ran marathons, Kavika, her muscle fibers would change to more slow twitch. And Kaylee, if we examine them, would have 15 to 25% more fast twitch muscle. So she would have more bang, more bounce, and more pop to everything she did. And more power, more explosiveness. That sounds pretty cool, right? So we're not just set how we are. Now how do we do this? Well, I just said it like you could run long distance. Like if we took Kavika, he's pretty athletic, right? I mean, you're a pretty bouncy guy, wouldn't you say? Yeah. Yes, from it. Now, if for the next 8 weeks he was like, I'm gonna run a marathon. Every day I'm doing 8, 10 miles, 14 miles. If he came back and did our plyometrics, he would not be that impressive. He would lean out and he'd probably lose about 15 pounds, right? Maybe 20. Now, so they've done research, and this is what we're going to talk about. Strength training. People that did strength training, they tested this. Athletes that did strength training, their type 1 muscles did not change they did not convert that much to type 2. Lifting weights, Malachi. If you just lift weights, your type 1 will not change that much to type 2. But the type 2X will change to type 2A. Now, when I say weight training, I mean strength training, 70% of your max, moving at slow speeds. So if Malachi's benching 200 pounds, 70% of your max is what? 60 pounds less is 140. So if he's benching 200 pounds, or let's make it easy, Reagan's benching 100 pounds. If she works out with 70 pounds or more, she's not going to be able to move that fast, right? It's going to be heavy. So she's going to be moving slow. What happens is, type 1 doesn't change much. These turn into these. You guys following me? Now here's the deal. They found that in strength training, if you did it a little bit quicker, you dropped the weight and moved it faster. And here's the big thing. Added in sprinting and plyometrics, your type 1 would change to type 2A, and I'm going to write HB for hybrids. At about 15% after 8 weeks. So if we run sprints and coach has 40%, we'll say 45%, Coach Allie, 45% of her muscles are type 1A. After 8 weeks of sprint training and plyometrics and quick lifting, she will turn those into hybrids or type 2A. And at the end of that 8 weeks, she would have 60%. And here's the thing is, she's changing these into these and not the super fast into these. So we know that now. So you guys wonder how you're getting more athletic, how you're jumping faster, how you're reacting quicker. And the great thing is, once you do it, once it becomes a part of you, once you have it, you just react. You're in a game and you're down, and 6 weeks ago that ball comes at you and you don't get there. Then 6 weeks later, bam, that ball's coming up. You're here, you dive for it, you only make it to Shelby. 6 weeks later, you're making it to the edge of the table. And it's a drastic difference. 15% sprint training. But here's the thing. So if any of you are doing conditioning outside of here, running long, slow, then you're going to offset that and you're going to start moving towards the slow twitch. And unless you want to be a marathon runner or cross country, we really want what Coach said. We want as much of those hybrids as possible. Super fast twitch, super powerful, longer endurance. Because from championship, I think Malachi, what time did you play the championship? 6:30? So the first game was at 10 o'clock. The last game was 6:30. They got done about 7:30, 7:50. That's a long day. But I'll tell you, from weight training, sprint training, and plyometrics, he was just as bouncy, if not more, than everybody else in the tournament at the end of the tournament as when they started. So, I'm noticing a drastic difference in you guys. But even more comparable to that, because I see you all the time, and you may not notice it because we're not timing everything, which we will start doing this spring, is the players that are in other clubs that are comparable to you, how slow they are comparable and how much not powerful as we are, and the endurance. So you say, how do I become have more endurance? Well, you don't need, science is now found, studies now found, if we stack high intensity workouts, that builds up our capacity for endurance. So what that means is, if we do a sprint under 5 seconds and do 6 of them, our endurance is going to go up overall. Like, we'll be able to run longer, faster, than slow in a really long time. Now, what we won't be able to do is run 3 to 5 to 10 miles necessarily, because we have so much muscle, we have more muscle mass, and that uses more energy. But who here is trying to run 5 miles? Matt? Not a chance. Malachi? Caleb? Reagan? Eric? Lily? No. But who here, out of you guys I just named, and everybody else, who would like to side out every time or 90% of the time on the first circuit? That's the name of the game, right? You win games by siding out. And I know from personally playing, I side out the best when I jump the highest. And I have the fastest step. If my first step is high, fast, and explosive, and my bounce is really high, I can score almost on anybody. I just can't. If I give a good pass, which is very, very far between. That's another story. But, so understand, all of you guys are getting faster. Everybody's jumping higher. If you guys add in strength training, and I'm not saying a lot, 1 time a week, shoulder presses, squats, lunges, calf raises, lift heavy, but not in your 70 percentile, and do it fast, you're going to go up even faster and more. And more of these slow twitch muscles are going to move down here into high raises. And that's what we want. Because now, so there are 11 teams in men's open. Saturday, how many teams are there?
There's big.
10? 10 teams in men's open. They were all open players. I watched every team play. Malachi was the most athletic, and Justin was the most powerful. He touched higher than everybody else but Malachi. And he's 36. And he wasn't doing that 2 months ago. So out of 22 players, the 2 most athletic and most powerful were our guys. Now, Reagan looked like a college player. Jay Dorsey thought she was a college player because he had a belt taker and I hadn't seen her anything. And Mila and Kaylee, looked every bit of a junior in college. Nobody could, same thing. I said to Jay, he goes, are those the twins? I said, yeah. And I said, they're sophomores. He goes, oh, I didn't know they got to college yet. I thought they were seniors. I said, no, they're sophomores in high school. He said, what? He said, and Jay, I really like Jay, I respect him. He travels all over America. He has professionals that play with him. He goes to tournaments all over the country. Sees some of the best players. He said, wow, you and your coaches are doing exactly what you said you were going to do 3 years. Even though you've cut down your numbers, your club is the most athletic club that I've ever seen. And we're just getting started. We haven't even been doing it that long. But here, now it's the other side of this. You have to be conscious of this stuff. Like, I'm going to push you. We're going to do it. We're going to program it. I know when we need to take off. Now, some of you guys that play, I understand that, but sometimes you got to tell me, hey, I did this or I had an indoor tournament. But understand, outside of here, if someone's trying to coach you or train you outside of what we just talked about, you're going to go the other direction. And I had Hall of Fame coaches coach me in high school and college that thought running 2 or 3 miles after practice, having 3 a days was a good idea. I never jumped higher before the season as I did in the season. I always jumped higher before the first game of the season. And usually, by the 4th game of the season, I was injured for the rest of the year. I was playing with an injury. Now, a lot of you guys don't understand that, but some of you do because you have other coaches, and they think that getting you tired makes it a good practice. Like, man, I'll tell you what, Malachi and Mila, they were exhausted today. We did a really good job, coaches. They were fried. We burned them out. Now, they may not be able to practice hard again for 3 days, but that's what a lot of coaches think. Hey, we got really tired. Instead of going, man, we had a really productive practice. We got faster, stronger. And next practice in 48 hours, we're going to be fresh. The tournament this weekend, we're going to be fresh. We're going to be 100% healthy and ready to go. We're going to be jumping higher, running faster, healthier, stronger than we've ever been in our whole life. And that's the goal. But a lot of people don't understand this. A lot of coaches don't understand this. And they don't understand that we want to be fresh and healthy at all times. Remember, 100% healthy is our number one goal. So, be conscious of what we're doing. You guys, everybody, if you can understand this or not, should have learned something. And walk away here going, well, at least I know what muscle types are. And if I do strength training, power training with weights, plyometrics, and sprinting, I'm going to get bouncer and faster. And I can change my genetic disposition. So even though both of your parents maybe ran cross country or marathons, that doesn't mean that you can't be a high flyer and really explosive. And in this sport, it doesn't help us to look like marathon runners. We want to be explosive and powerful.